Very interesting session because you get different perspectives. You require 3 different perspectives when you look at any of these sessions. One is you must have the operator's perspective and their ecosystem. The second perspective that you definitely need to have is of the customers. The third is the government or the regulators. And all 3 perspectives are important. So it's been a good session to go back and debate about all 3 different perspectives. Good event. I mean, they do this every year. Each time we come back with a new set of ideas. This time, the movement of operators towards what we call the being DSPs, digital service providers, is a very interesting story, because if they don't do it, the lunch will be eaten by somebody else. And how do they do it in terms of their legacy environments, in terms of the rapid change that's required, is a different paradigm shift. So you have startups coming in where valuation becomes 100 times in less than 5 years, and some of these telcos have been around for more than 20 years. How do they change? So one of the interesting things which have come about is everybody wants to change, but everybody doesn't have the answers on how to walk the path of rapid change. So we're looking at 20 years of voice, 10 years of data, 7 years of digital life, all overlapping. So even the change compression cycles are, metamorphosing very fast. How do you change? And everybody has to change. Everybody has to change. If you take a step back, again, look at from a customer's perspective, the government and the telecom operators, because this is the 3 pillars on which transformation can happen. The customers, India is the country with the largest population, 7th largest in the world, rapidly growing, will be the 3rd largest economy in a couple of maybe 10 years, 15 years. We need education and we need infrastructure. So the government has mandated a lot of things, Digital India, Make in India, these are all programs to help us achieve that change. Consumers need to change. 30% of the consumers are digital ready. 70% of rural India needs basic power, water, sanitation. There has to be a digital change there. That's one. On the government side, they've started making the necessary investments. They're collecting the funds to be able to make the investments so that this can happen. So that's the second pillar. So customers is one. Second, telcos. Telcos need to rapidly change in terms of both internal digitization and external digitization. So external digitization is where they will talk to customers. This is omni-channel experience. All the new set of customers that are coming on board will be without actually human interaction and so on and so forth. So that's one piece. And then internally, the telcos need to change. So it's the internal digitization of telcos which will take a longer period of time because of huge investments that they've made in the past. How do you suddenly leapfrog into the future? Today, tomorrow, if a new telecom company comes in, they'll be able to do it much faster because they don't have a lot of legacy. So that's the difference in the imperatives. Accenture looks at it from 2 perspectives. What we call is rotate to the new. So there are 2 positions that we take. One is in the area of realm of technology and what we call Accenture Digital. So we're looking at companies, and this is not only telcos, but all kinds of companies across all industries to become digital. So the external interaction with the end customers, whether it's B2C or B2B, to be digital. That's one. And in the second rotation to the new, we're looking at how to fast track this internal digitization of companies, because the skill sets required are very different. And in order to jump, they compress the cycle and jump about 7 years ahead, you need to do it differently. So this is one piece. On the second gamut, we're looking at our consulting and strategy practice to get in how to make change happen. So one is technology, one is the actual change management of how to change companies. What are the skill sets required for CXOs? What will a CFO do 5 years down the line? How should a CEO or a CTO or a CIO behave? What's the role of a chief digital officer in a company? It's a different paradigm. So we are approaching it from two ends. One is in terms of technology and one in terms of people. There are two perspectives again. It's like for survival, they need to change. So it is not that they will change because of high-end customers. So high-end customers is one thing. Falling ARPUs is a reality. You need to get to the third dimension, which we call the digital life, because after data peaks up, the ARPUs will fall, and therefore you need to go back in what we call digital life as the third phase. Unless they do that, the ARPUs are not going to increase. It's very clear. And each of these telcos is experimenting in different ways in order to be able to manage that onslaught. I mean, a very simple thing that I said, the first propensity to change is ILD calls getting replaced by WhatsApp calling. ILD is being replaced by WhatsApp calling. Second change will happen is off-net will get replaced by something else. So it will all become data, and therefore once it becomes data, ARPUs are going to fall eventually. When they're going to fall, what can the telcos do to shore them up? One of the things that we believe, and Accenture believes that this industry should do, is to invest a lot into video for the next 2-3 years. So for earlier, if you remember, music and a lot of Facebook, etc., were applications, OTT applications were shoring up usage. Video will shore up huge amount of demand. That is something that the telcos must go back and look at and review, invest in. Once that is done is the next generation of IoT and the digital life of a customer. Everything that integrates around you has to be digital. And that's the next phase after 3 years. So next 2-3 years is going to be video. After 2-3 years is digital in terms of IoT, getting everything on a cloud, location-based services, and you're there.